it's Stacy here with Limelight AZ. Here's my update for this week. Is it week 37? 38? I've lost count. I don't know. Usually I look before starting the video, and I just didn't do that because I hadn't done any stings. So, I don't know. I'll put it I'll put it in the title. No stings. As I said last week, we had a bit of a catastrophe where our box was messed up, and so we ended up getting a new box. We did get a new batch of bees, and then they promptly died. We got the box on Tuesday, and then we decided not to sting that night, and then I saw them out there on Wednesday flying around. They looked a little sluggish on Wednesday morning because it was kind of cool out, but then they got moving and they were fine. And then Wednesday night, they were not. They just weren't even there. There was a few dead ones in the bottom, but that's pretty normal when we get a new batch. And just gone. So, of course, we're like, oh my gosh, like, really, what else, So this last batch, I didn't even get a chance to sting with, which really sucks. So we contacted our bee guy. He left a message from my husband and said that that he thinks that maybe there wasn't enough airflow. So we're suspecting between the airflow and the fact that it's still a little chilly here, a little colder than what they're capable of dealing with, that maybe between the two it was just catastrophic for them. So hubby added more holes to the bee house, and we're also getting a butterfly habitat to put the house in and keeping it indoors so that they won't freeze. Hopefully we can manage that way. I'm starting to get kind of frustrated. Anyways, frustrated doesn't even quite describe how I'm feeling, because we had been able to sting for like a week and a half after my mom got back, and then since, not really, it's been almost 3 weeks since I've stung last. So I'm feeling a lot of emotions right now. I'm feeling like I'm scared that this is going to be majorly problematic, because I'm really pushing that that time frame of the 3 months that you really should be stinging by. Even though I did sting for a week and a half, I don't know that that's enough. How are we going to continue keeping the bees alive so we don't have to keep sending our house to the bee guy to fill? I'm sure it's kind of a pain in the butt for him to do it, and we're extremely grateful that he's doing it, but I mean, that's excessive to try to get him to do. Sorry, my battery's gonna die. Anyways, that would be a little excessive. I mean, we sting 3 times a week, and we can't seem to keep them alive for more than 24 hours. So this is a problem. And already I feel like it's excessive. I mean, we were having him fill the house once every 4 to 8 weeks, So now we've seen him, or we've had him fill it once a week for the last 3 weeks, and it's just not sticking, So I'm concerned, because I don't want to upset our bee guy that we keep letting his bees die for one, and that it's basically a waste of product for him, and two, that he has to go to the trouble to keep filling them. I'm sure he probably gets a bee outfit on and everything, and then dumps the bees in the house, and it just, I'm sure that it probably is at least a 20-minute process, including getting clothes on, if not longer. So I don't really want to keep making them refill their bee house every week, We need to figure out how to keep them alive. So we're hoping that the house having more holes in it for better airflow while they are in transit, and then having the butterfly habitat, we just need to put honey and water in there with them so that they make sure to have access to food and drink. We're hoping that'll work. I know a lot of other people use a butterfly habitat to try to keep the bees alive so that they can fly. We'll see. Had a scary day earlier this week. I really thought that my symptoms were coming back majorly. And then I realized a little bit later I had eaten a banana, which I know last time I had banana was histamine releasing. And so my body kind of freaked out. So I'm hoping that my symptoms are still slow to come back. I am noticing some stiffness in my elbows that wasn't there before. My left elbow started snapping, I guess 4 or 5 days ago. And then my right elbow started yesterday or day before. So they are starting to tighten up and create problems. My left and my right knee are not extending as well, even with doing the stretching that I was doing, which at this point I've stopped because I think it was actually making it worse. And then it's been kind of a stressful week. We had a couple incidents with my son that were concerning, and he's my second child, but first boy, and so I just, after having raised a girl, I just don't know what to do with boys. And so I'm not sure how much of what we're dealing with him is just normal boy behavior, or if it's potentially acting out because of mom being sick and dad having to work all the time. I don't know. So adding life stressors to our already delicate situation with me and the bees is frustrating. So yeah, it's not been a great week. But hopefully we'll be back on track starting tomorrow. We dropped the bee house, or my husband dropped the bee house this morning, and I let the bee guy know that it needs to be filled again, and apologized that it needs to be filled again. And hopefully we can get that picked up tomorrow or the next day and start singing again no later than Thursday. That's the plan anyhow. So we'll see. What else? I forgot to mention a few weeks ago, right just before I discovered that I could sit up on my own, I figured out that I can roll on my own. One of my things that I've been concerned about is accidentally rolling on my front and not being able to get off. Well, turns out I can't roll onto my front. Did I talk about this already? I think I have, but I think I'm going to just go ahead and say it anyway, just in case I didn't. That when I have my hands like this, I can't roll over my shoulder anyway. So I'm not at risk of accidentally landing on my front because of too much swing or something, and not being able to get off my front. But I did realize that if I have my hands to my sides, I can roll on the front and off the front. It's a little bit of effort, but I can do it. So I thought that was pretty cool. What else? Oh, I guess just on a more of a personal note, I decided to be a little bit more intentional. I spend a lot of time on my phone, just to try to drown out noise in my head, especially if I've had a rough patch where I'm feeling depressed. Occupying my brain with stuff on my phone has been a way to keep my thoughts from going too far south and dark. Well, I'm not at that place anymore where I feel like my brain is untrustworthy and that my thoughts are too scary. So, I am now trying to be more intentional about not being on my phone. And I kicked myself off Facebook, with exception of sharing from YouTube my videos. And I also kicked myself off my game that I play way too much. So I'm being more intentional about that and trying to watch things that are educational, normally religiously educational for me, and doing reading and stuff, like my Bible reading and stuff. I'm actually ahead at this point where for weeks I was behind, and I've caught up, and I am now ahead of my schedule. So I'm kind of happy about that. Yeah, I think that's it. I am tired. I'm going to take a break and possibly take a nap. Have a wonderful day.